Okay. Thank you everyone for being here. It's so great to see all your faces. Good morning. Super excited. Really coming into this season, we knew that we were going to have a lot of new pieces. We knew it was going to be a work in progress. We knew there would be some ups and downs, but we'd have a talented team that if they could put it all together, we would be able to accomplish some great things. So I've been coaching for a long time. That might have been most, I guess, surprised or excited our group was last night when our name was announced. I had a stomach ache all week just because I still haven't gotten over 2017. Maybe I need to at some point. But just really pumped up for our team. Just pleased at the way we played in the Big Ten tournament and hope that we can keep that momentum moving forward into LA.
Should we just fire away, Sarah?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, make my job easier. Go ahead.
All right, Kim. Yeah, I was going to ask. I did watch a little video that you guys put out of your reaction. Yeah, very very excited. Yeah, so I guess you weren't, maybe not trusting isn't the right word, but there are obviously people that put out projections, and you guys were kind of safely in. But yeah, I guess it was nervous moments for you until you saw your name.
Yeah, I mean, just we weren't sure. We know that that Indiana win down the stretch and the way we played in the Big Ten tournament definitely helped. The Ohio State win helped. The strength of our league certainly helped. But we were the first four buys, I guess, in some of those predictions. So when the one was called and it was an 8-9, we were like, okay, let's sit back and see what happens. And then Michigan came up on the screen and we just erupted. So I think just pleased for our program and our league to have continued to make the progress that we have. And I just think it speaks to people really recognizing the strength of our league, and I think that's really helpful moving forward.
Yeah, Kim. Hey, how you doing? I guess back in, I don't know what month that was, maybe October, when we were talking in Minneapolis, we were talking about how this is sort of a new, this team is constructed in a new way, right? Some more transfers than in years past. But I guess now you've seen that it can still be successful. I guess, what did you learn about this just new faces and how to grow a team that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were super resilient. I mean, we never, from a coaching perspective, I never felt like I'd get to the gym even after a tough loss and I'd have to keep them motivated and keep them pumped up. I think they wanted to, get ready for the next game, and they felt like they could have been better in the game that we had lost. So I think from a coaching perspective, that makes it really easy when you don't have to motivate a team, even when they've lost a couple of games. And, even down the stretch, we lost some tough ones before March came, and our team was like, no, we know what we need to do. We're willing to get back out there. So that was a super positive. I think the transfers, really, we got 3 grad transfers, which is something we never really have done before. But with the loss of 3 key players in Maddie Nolan, Emily Kaiser, a first-team all-conference player, and Leah Brown, a WNBA draft pick, we knew that experience was going to be important to fill those holes. And the experience of Lauren Hansen and Alyssa Brett has been incredible for us. And, Taylor Williams has given us a spark in some different areas as well. She hasn't been available late, but she has given us a spark throughout the course of the year. But those other 2 have become like staples for us in the starting lineup, and their experience has been incredibly valuable. And then, Layla Filia, everyone knew she was a good player, but to take those next steps after losing those pieces that we did, and to perform on the big stage like she did in the Big Ten tournament was incredible. And, I think of, Jordan Hobbs, who, last year was a role player and this year is such a valuable piece to our success. As with Cameron Williams and Kyra Evans, I mean, two other players that have, continued to grow in our program. So I just think, there were so many unknowns for us to be here today in the position that we are. I'm just really proud of our group.
Kim? No, you mentioned earlier in your opening remark that, if you put it all together, this team could be really, really sound and have a good run in this tournament. How close are you think, to putting it all together?
Yeah, I think we're close. I think we really did a great job in the Big Ten tournament. I was really happy with the way that we played in round one. Our growth in terms of understanding our matchups, how to defend those matchups, understanding personnel, understanding how we can attack, was much better than when we played Minnesota the first time. And then, I would say the same thing in the Indiana game, and especially in Indiana, went down against an experienced team, and having to rally back and having to, overcome that deficit. And then, even in the Iowa game, I think we ran out of gas a little bit, but we had an awesome first quarter. I mean, we started really, really well. But then the 3 games in 3 days, I think, kind of got to us. And besides that, it was also the turnaround of the, late game to the afternoon game the next day. I mean, we didn't even have 24 hours to recover before we had to play the next day. And I think that was extremely tough. And that, that those kind of turnarounds have happened to us during the course of this season, but the NCAA tournament's not built that way. So I think that, it is helpful.
Hey, Kim, you mentioned earlier this year that your hope or expectation for this program is that it'll be competing for championships, national championships in a few years. What does making the NCAA tournament 6 years in a row, how's that a stepping stone toward that goal, particularly in a transition year, as you mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, heading into this year, I was probably had a bellyache every day. Just there was this incredible unknown of what this season was going to be. I think from a coach's perspective, it kind of was exciting though, because it was like, okay, we haven't been in this position in a long time. We had a lot of people returning, and kind of that same foundation for 4 or 5 years. So there was a lot of unknowns coming into this year. But for us to finish the way we did, to get to 20 wins, to get to the tournament, I think, consistency, and I might have said this to you guys through the years a lot, but in my first NCAA tournament with St. John's, Connecticut was in that bracket, and I was so excited we made the tournament, and we were an 8-9, and we won our first round game, and I was so excited jumping in the hallway, and of course Gino had to come and burst my bubble and gives me a hug to say congratulations, and then the next thing out of his mouth is like, it's easy to get here, the hard part is staying here. And I was like, golly, geez, I want to celebrate this moment. But that was something that has always stuck with me. And that's probably, I don't even want to say how many years ago now, probably 20 years ago now. And it's stuck with me about, being, what's your legacy and what is your program stand for, and what are you trying to do? But a team that could be consistent year in and year out. At Michigan, when I came here, I don't know, Sarah can tell you all the numbers of how many 20-win seasons we had and how many NCAA tournaments we had. But, a lot of people will be like, oh, they can't do it there, or that's not going to happen. And that's just a goal of ours every year. And now we haven't won the championship yet. but I think the building of a consistent program is pretty exciting. It's, it's just a exciting thing for me. And I think it speaks about, our program in the University of Michigan for sure.
Hi. In terms of your specific game Saturday, I know you've only had since last night, but do you have any thoughts on Kansas as an opponent in that first round game?
Yeah, Kansas is a tremendous opponent. The 8-9 games are always great teams, and they're a team that, I think has won 9 of their last 11. They're a team that won the WNIT championship last year. So we've been in their position years ago. Like, we've been in all of those spots. So they're hungry. They're here. They're going to be thrilled for the opportunity to, advance in the NCAA tournament. So they play in a good league. They're going to be tough. They're led by a 6'6" post player and a freshman first team all conference player, superstar freshman. So they're a great team. I've never ever, and any time that we've gotten in the NCAA tournament, looked at the thing and was like, oh man, we're gonna win this game, or we have an easy matchup. I think when you get to the tournament, you realize like every single team that is in the tournament is a great team and a great program. So now it's just about preparation and getting our team ready for Saturday.
Kim, I was just about to ask you about Kansas because they were sort of in the same boat you guys were in 17, felt like they got snubbed and then go on and win the WNIT. But with that in mind, I know your stomach's been, a mess, but is the PTSD from that maybe a good thing? Does it keep you motivated year after year?
It certainly keeps me motivated. And sorry, guys, last night I was like, Sarah, why are we not doing media? Meanwhile, all week I was like, okay, Sarah, no media, nobody at my house, no cameras, nothing. And then last night I was like, well, why aren't we on ESPN? But yeah, it just keeps me, I think that's part of me anyway, but then you add that to it. And, now that we've been away from it for so long, and now that we were studying, the team sheets this week to see if we would get in, Sarah's like, maybe we were ridiculous back then. We hadn't had any top 25 wins. We hadn't had any top 50 wins. And now, we beat Ohio State and we beat Indiana. And back, in 17, we had never beaten a top 10 team. That would have been unheard of. Now we beat top 10 teams. And I'm like, ooh, are we still good enough? Or are we going to get in? And, we had 6 top 50 wins or something crazy like that. But I think, yeah, it's probably part of me. I think there's a lot of coaches that aren't like that. I think now I'm not young anymore. In my mind, I'm still young, but I guess to the outside world, I'm not. I should have grown in this space and been like, Sarah, get all the crew and the cameras and everything else. But, we didn't do that because I think I will always have PTSD off of. That was one of the toughest days of my coaching career. And, now we've been removed so far, but it's a day I'll never forget for sure.
Hi, Coach. You mentioned Kansas center Tiana Jackson. She's a semifinalist for Defensive Naismith Player of the Year. She's really just a force inside. What are you guys gonna have to do to slow her down, especially in the paint on offense?
Yeah, just watching film, I'm not exactly sure yet how we're going to slow her down. We've played against some great players in our league that, we say we never can really stop them, but, can we contain them? It would be amazing if she, like I'm looking at the Texas game and she played only 20 minutes. Like, can we somehow get her to play 20 minutes? I don't know. She's a great player. And like I said, they're led by 2 first team all conference players. That's pretty incredible. So she will be a force. I hope that, some of the post players in our league have prepared us for this type of matchup. Taylor.
Oh, I think it's me. Hey.
I don't
Kim.
want to cut.
It's
I'll let
Andrew
Andrew
and
go
Taylor.
Go
first.
ahead, Andrew. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Taylor's in the front of my screen.
Yeah, I mean, you're going out to LA, I guess, just kind of thoughts on that. There's a lot of Michigan alums there. I don't know, exactly how they handle the tickets when the team is hosting, if you expect to have maybe a little more support than you normally would in a opposing team's gym.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan travels. Michigan and California is tremendous, and I know we have a bunch of former players that are actually out there, so I'm really excited to see them and for them to, get to meet our team and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, I mean, it'll be a great environment. Just some really incredible teams. My niece is actually the head coach at USC lacrosse. So that's pretty cool. My sister and brother-in-law are in LA right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to stay. They've been out there watching her. They live in New Jersey, but they've been watching her for the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to have some family there for sure. It'll be nice. It'll be nice. And it'll be great for our team to witness in the other game one of the generational talents in Juju Watkins for sure, and see a team that will be in our league, obviously moving forward. But yeah, I hope we're able to get some Michigan fans there for sure.
All right, Taylor, you can go ahead.
Okay, so Kansas is a very strong defensive team, only allowing like 60 some points per game. Do you know anything about their defense and what it's going to be important for your offense to break through?
Yeah, I mean, I've been studying Taylor as much as I can since, 9:30 last night. And Coach Mel is on the scout, and I know she's already 3 games in and really trying to prepare us. I think, we try to find when we go through like similar teams in our league, teams that have a similar style, teams that are similar defensively, teams that are similar, offensively, and really lock into that. Fortunately, in the Big Ten tournament, we played against both Indiana and Minnesota, which are good defensive teams and don't allow a tremendous amount of points and that kind of preparation. We've already started talking about what kind of drills we want to put in practice. Illinois is a similar type team. We feel like similar at different spots to potentially Kansas. So just really going through bit by bit and trying to prepare for them as best as we can. They had like-minded opponents in Nebraska and Penn State. So I've watched the Nebraska game and I haven't watched Penn State yet, but it's kind of nice when you get to watch them against, people in your league that you're really familiar with. Those games were a while ago before conference play, but still just watching them to just see them against, Nebraska's big and how they matched up, how their big matched up with that big. So just trying to do stuff like that.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I got one more, if that's okay, if I have it in my allotment.
Always, Andrew, always.
But it's about Juwan. I mean, he obviously you overlapped with his entire tenure here. If you just had any thoughts on him, no longer being Michigan's coach. Yeah,
I mean, I think our business, our life, like you always have to be prepared for different things like this to happen. And obviously we were sad as a staff and as a team because he's a tremendous man. I mean, just a great, great, great man. And he was welcoming, he and his family, welcoming, embracing to both me, my family, and our entire program. I remember when he first got here, he'd sit front row with a towel and, cheer for Nas and was at our practices and always super supportive of our games. And even when you read his statement, he's truly a Michigan man and bleeds maize and blue. So just want to wish him well and his family well. And, that would probably be, the extent of where we are right now. I got my head down and grinding, Andrew, but
Sure.
but
Understood.
just want to love up on all those players that walk through the door and those coaches, good people, really good people.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it.